Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Counselors. I'm Jill Bollwerk,
I'm Andy Pichler.
and we are the attorneys at Bollwerk and Associates. And I know it's been a little bit of time since we've done our last episode. There's a really good reason. What's that reason, Andy?
My wife and I are happy to announce that we welcomed our second daughter into the world.
Yes, she's adorable and special, and he took a little time off to be with them. So we're back at it. And today we're going to start a series, basically understanding your car insurance policy. And we're going to break that up into 4 different episodes. Today we're going to talk about liability insurance. In future episodes, we're going to talk about medical payments coverage, uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. But today we're going to talk about liability insurance. And Andy, why don't you explain what liability insurance is?
Yeah, so liability insurance is mandatory in Missouri. Everybody needs to have at least the minimum coverage. And liability insurance covers you if you are at fault in an accident and you injure someone.
Yes, and one I forgot to mention, today's coffee mug. What day is it?
It's Thursday, Jill.
Thank you. It's Thursday. Good to know. I wasn't so sure. So yes, liability coverage, as Andy said, is insurance coverage that covers you when you're at fault. Here's what liability insurance is not. It is not what people call full coverage. It is just coverage that covers you for your fault, and it doesn't cover you for anything that happens to you. So if you want your vehicle covered, your vehicle damage covered in an accident where you're at fault, you need to purchase collision coverage on top of that liability coverage. There are minimum limits that you're required to have in Missouri. If you want to talk about that, Andy?
Yeah, so in Missouri, you have to have a minimum limit of what we call 2550, which means $25,000 per individual or $50,000 per accident.
Okay. So if one person gets hurt, the maximum is 25.
Correct.
Okay. And if multiple people get hurt, they share in the 50,000?
Yes, but an individual can only get up to 25,000 in that point. So one person can't take the full 50.
Okay. And also about minimum limits, it's not always a good idea to only carry minimum limits. You really have to consider, what do I have to lose if I have an accident that's really serious? So if you seriously injure somebody and you only have $25,000 of coverage, but you have, a nice house, a good job, you might be exposing yourself to excess liability above and beyond your insurance policy. So that's an important thing to note. If you have multiple cars and each one has a $25,000 policy, how does that work?
Yeah, so the insurance follows the car. So if you have, as Jill mentioned, multiple cars, let's say one of them has a 2550 minimum, you're involved in an accident, you're at fault in that accident, that 2550 is going to apply.
Okay. And then if you're driving somebody else's car, typically their car insurance is going to cover primarily. They're going to be the first one that covers. Sometimes your car insurance might cover secondarily or might do what's called pro rata sharing, but that's something that you need to, have somebody take a look at your policy to determine. But typically, the liability insurance follows the vehicle. So basically, liability insurance is the part of your coverage that's mandatory in Missouri. You have to have it, and it is the coverage that covers you for your acts of negligence. So when you make a mistake or when you cause somebody else to be injured, that's what your liability coverage is for. So next time we're going to talk about medical payments coverage. Anything to add, Andy?
I don't think so. It's good to be back.
Good to be back. And he is getting a slight amount of sleep at night, so that's great.
Yes.
Okay.
That was helpful.
All right, everybody. Thanks. We'll see you next episode.